All right, boys and girls, welcome back, welcome back. It's about that time of day again here, folks. Welcome back to your nightly newsletter. My name is Joseph James. It is the 5th day of the 5th month of 2014. Happy Cinco de Mayo to everybody out there celebrating here today. Not an official holiday here in the U.S., but I'll tell you, living here in Los Angeles, you would think it was a federal holiday. So hope you guys had a great Monday here. Today was a Monday after non-farm payrolls. We had a lot of fireworks today in the markets. We had a great day in our live trade room. All the members out there, hope you guys were able to learn and earn right along with me today. Had a very exciting day here from start to finish. Let's jump right into it here this morning. On today's newsletter, we're going to talk more about the markets today. Crude oil tumbles, gold waits, mini Russell goes sideways. We talk about today's news today. We heard from China, right? Very disappointing manufacturing coming out of China. Non-farm payrolls were in the news this morning. And, of course, we continue to see the little soap opera continue to develop in the form of more violence this morning in the newspapers here for the country of Ukraine. So that got things moving here this morning early, and it kept us going all day today. We also have a lot of major news to talk about for tomorrow. We've got a ton of Red Star news in Europe, starting actually in Australia here this evening. So don't forget, stick around for that. We'll talk about the news we have scheduled for tomorrow. And of course, at the end of the session here this evening, we'll be talking about the trading opportunities we have here, buying lows and selling highs on the Russell. We're looking for shorts on crude and looking for longs on gold. That's going to be included in tonight's nightly newsletter. We'll talk about the markets today. We'll talk about the news today. We'll go over the news for tomorrow. And then we're going to roll up our sleeves, grab some charts, and we'll take a look at all the clues we have for tomorrow. Now, before I jump in here, guys, if you're not watching this video right now on our blog at sidewaysmarkets.com, make sure you follow the link below the YouTube video. If you're watching this on our YouTube page, follow the link below the YouTube video, and make sure you get over to sidewaysmarkets.com. Here's why. On our blog, here's where all the good stuff is. First of all, if you want to download all the commentary, all the information, and all the charts that I have here for you, I've conveniently made them available for download. That way you can download the charts and then have them right next to the video so you can go through each of these charts right along with me. That'll make it really easy for you. Also, don't forget, we offer a free trial to our trade room. I got a free pass waiting for you guys right up in the upper left-hand corner there. Check that out, a free pass to our trade room. Also, if you want to get an email from me every evening for our nightly newsletter, join our newsletter list on the left-hand side there as well. So now you know why you got to get over to sidewaysmarkets.com and check out the newsletter there. Let's jump right into it here this morning. This evening. It's been a long Monday, and we'll check out crude oil futures. Here's what happened today. A relatively typical range today, only about 115 ticks of range here on the old black gold. We opened up here, though, today, as you can see, right near the highs. Now, remember, this was Friday's non-farm payroll range. Very important range, right? So we opened up this morning just below those highs, and we thought we might get a chance to make a run for it here, but that didn't last very long. It just tumbled here, as you can see, and pretty much grinded all the way lower here. There was clearly a bit of a short covering rally towards the end of the session, pushing it back in, but as far as I'm concerned, we stayed below the prior week close. We almost got down to the prior week low. Key number here, big round number of 100. Opened up right above it, came right down below it, and very important here today, all the volume here you can see, right? These are these volume spikes we talk about in the trade room. These volume spikes tell us we've got 99.15, we've got 99.50, but we are well below that $100 a barrel, which of course is a key psychological level. It'll be a price magnet. So volume tells us the bears are definitely in charge. We pretty much had a lackluster session. I mean, we made some great money selling short on this, going lower, and of course you saw that short covering rally later in the session. Other than that, though, pretty typical type of day here. 115 ticks, wasn't outside of the range. If we get above 200 ticks, it's a wide day. If we get below 100 ticks, it's a narrow day. So, we were on the narrower side. But really, the most amazing thing today, though, was the fact that we clearly saw proof the traders are showing more importance for what's happening in China than what's happening in Ukraine. I've been trading crude for a long time, and anytime we see anything, I don't care what the news is. The news could be Vladimir Putin ate a ham sandwich. It could be whatever the news is. People freak out, right, regarding crude oil, and prices always go higher. So the fact that we have violence in the Ukraine, the fact that the Ukraine is a major, major player in the distribution of the old crude oil going west, the other east. We know this should be pushing prices higher, but it's not. And so it's a very clear sign. The conditions in China, we talked about this earlier, right? The fourth consecutive month, disappointing manufacturing coming out of China, and that's causing crude to continue to push lower. In my opinion, it's the only reason why we're not above 105 right now. So the 100 continues to be a good little magnet for us, but again, we're continuing to see bearish price action here today. So a relatively lackluster, didn't really have many fireworks today, but we're definitely seeing proof now what the personality is doing with this issue in Ukraine, right? Apparently, it's taking a back seat here, right, to China, So we take care of crude today. We'll keep on moving here down to the old yellow gold here, right, from the black gold to the yellow gold here. Now, gold was a pretty interesting scenario this morning. Gold had a big gap up here overnight. You can see pushed higher here. Now, remember, I'm a day trader. I don't care why it pushed up higher. We can assume that it had to do with the issues in China. We can assume that it had a little bit to do with the fact that we're worried about Thursday's ECB report. I assume Thursday's ECB will be the big reason, but do I really care? No, not really. Maybe to impress you guys, but it's not going to make me any more money. So all we care about is the fact that it gapped up here overnight. And then if you look at this, you first would think, where's the rest, right? Where's the rest of this chart? Did we lose everything else going forward? No, it's really that narrow. So clearly here, very narrow range today, only 79 ticks. It barely ticked lower. Closing price above the 1,300 big round number. None of this is really, it's really not that, there's not much you can do with it. I'm bullish tomorrow above 13.15. I'm bearish below the 1308.3, but very, very small range. This is clearly telling us right now that gold is waiting on something. That something we can assume is Thursday's meeting from the ECB. It could be more news out of China. It could be more news out of Ukraine. But the one big clue here today, the most important clue that we get, is the size of this range. A narrow range today tells me to expect a wide range tomorrow. A wide range today tells me to expect a narrow range tomorrow, right? Got a wide range last Friday. Now here we are, narrow range on Monday. So if history repeats itself, it should be a day filled with fireworks tomorrow on gold. If it's not, then we know exactly what's happening, right? They're waiting on Thursday's ECB report. Moving down, the mighty mini Russell, one of my favorite markets to trade right now. I'll tell you, we really enjoy trading the Russell and the NASDAQ in our trade room. Equity markets are on fire, big ranges, lots of action, definitely some fun stuff. If you're a day trader, it's like Christmas every day. It's been a very, very fun year so far. What are we seeing here on the VIP chart? Well, first of all, you can see we got some pretty significant range here, you can see. Right, so that's pretty much our range, and we are right smack in the middle of that range. Now, I'm going to show you another chart in just a moment. Stick around for that one, and we'll talk more about why I think we're really, really in trouble here in this area, but wait out for that. What happened today was, though, had a pretty typical range. Again, above 200, we're wide. Below 100, we're narrow. 172 ticks. Not a gangbuster day here, but we got a pretty good amount of range on it. So we were able to buy those lows here. We had a nice reversal trade this morning in the trade room. Able to buy those lows earlier in the day and then buy lows and sell highs as it was going sideways. Very small change here. I think the most important thing that we see on this chart is actually two really important clues here. First of all, look where the prior week close was and look where we spent the majority of the day today. What could the prior week close be telling us right now? in balance, right? The term I actually used today was we are balanced, right? In our live trade room today, we talked about the market being balanced on the Russell. We opened up lower, but that doesn't go so far with us because we can still see we are inside kind of the middle of this larger range here. So we're not going to put too much weight on the gap down. But look what happened though. Bounces right off, goes right at the prior week close. And look, the high volume node here is right about the same as that prior week close. This tells me, the volume tells me, the closing price tells me we are neutral. We are balanced. All right. This is a big, big clue right now going into tomorrow's trading session. I'm not going to go over it right now, but stick around towards the end of this call tonight, and you're going to see why this is very, very important information. So range-bound session on Russell, bullish on gold, but very small range on gold, and again, bearish here on the crude. Now that you know what happened today, let's now double-check and see what we have happened today on the news. The news today, all we had was some ISM non-manufacturing here in the U.S. That's tomorrow's news report. Markets got off to a rocky start, though, today. We began today with the fourth consecutive month of disappointing manufacturing news from China. Now, last week, I posted an article that was published by Bill Gross, my good buddy down the street here in Orange County, California. He's the CEO of PIMCO, just a little firm you may have heard of before. And he talked about how when the U.S. sneezes, the rest of the world catches a cold. Well, what happens when China has a cold as well? We got a big problem on our hands, and this is something that we're starting to see is picking up some bigger global concern right now here. Now, in addition to China, we also had more violence coming out of Ukraine, right? Seems like every day we get another little tidbit of this soap opera keeps developing. So the first thing was news out of China. That's most likely what was responsible for crude going south instead of going north this morning. Then we heard from the Ukraine, more bloodshed in Ukraine. I still don't quite know why we haven't picked up on that for crude, but I will take it. And then again, we had major news today, the ISM manufacturing report. Later in the session, it pushed higher once again above 50. Remember, 50 is the number for expansion. Below 50 is contraction. We have now the highest rate of expansion in the last 8 months here in the U.S. This, of course, is a lot to be contributed. It's a lot to be given credit towards Mother Nature, right? Mother Nature kicked our you-know-what a couple times up and down the street in the months of November, December, January, and February. If you remember, at the beginning of 2004, it was blame it on the snow. Now we're getting a big snapback in manufacturing, in housing, in jobs. It's pretty much exactly what we expected to see here. So news out of China, news out of Russia, Ukraine, news out of the U.S. And then I thought this was pretty, kind of finally saw the other shoe drop today. Remember that little issue with Target over the holiday season, losing millions of people's information? Yeah, well, the CEO was forced to step down today. That was pretty big news. Kind of interesting watching this whole thing develop right now because this is going to be a pretty important factor going forward. The security of all these credit card numbers, right? Social security numbers, date of birth, address, all that fun stuff. So very interesting, these huge corporations that deal with it. This day in history, one of my favorite times for our nightly newsletter. And of course, how could I forget about Cinco de Mayo, right? 1862, this day in history, the Battle of Puebla. Now, during the French-Mexican War, a poorly supplied, outnumbered Mexican army, they attempted to capture the Puebla de Los Angeles, a small town in eastern central Mexico. That's funny. I live in a town just like that now. The victory at the Battle of Puebla represented a moral victory for the Mexican government, right? It's known today as the Mexican Independence Day here in the United States. Now remember, Cinco de Mayo is not a Mexican holiday, right? It's a holiday outside of Mexico celebrating Mexico's independence. I'll tell you, living in Los Angeles for so many years, I absolutely love the Mexican culture, and it has just been such an exciting week here. It's going to be a few days of a big party here. You would think it was Mardi Gras right here in the southwest of the U.S. So happy Cinco de Mayo out there. right? Hopefully you guys are safe out there tonight. It's a big drinking holiday here in the U.S. Funny how that worked out. May 5th, 1961, the first American goes into space. I'll tell you right now, how'd you like to be this guy, right? I don't want a car wash to experiment their new soap recipe on my brand new sports car, let alone being thrown into outer space here for the first time. Could you imagine? Just imagine. I'll tell you, if they had Twitter back in the day, I'll bet he was tweeting all over the place, right up there, 116 miles above planet Earth. What an incredible story. Alan Bartlett Shepard Jr., the first American launched in a space capsule. He spent 15 minutes up there, right? Is that where they came up with that term, 15 minutes of fame? I'll bet he had groupies lined up down the street from Cape Canaveral. I could just imagine what it would have been like being Mr. Shepard, getting off that air shuttle, or I guess they parachute back down, right? Climbing out of the rubble. Could you imagine? Could you imagine the welcome you had back? He probably got a bigger welcome the Beatles did when they touched down here in the U.S. Then, of course, we can't forget about May 5th, 1904, Cy Young, right? Cy Young, another poor, pathetic Boston Red Sox pitcher, right? Cy Young throws a perfect game. This was the first perfect game in the modern era. That's why it's important. The first one was thrown by John Montgomery in 1880. And, of course, Cy Young, he threw no three hitters, and this is his only perfect game. If you don't know who Cy Young guys is, make sure you follow that link there. One of our most prolific baseball players of all times. That's what happened today in the news. Cy Young throws a perfect game. The first American, right? The first groupies ever start harassing American astronauts. And, of course, we can't forget about, right, the Mexican Independence Day, Cinco de Mayo, is born. News tomorrow. Getting on here for news tomorrow. Now, tomorrow's news, we have a ton of news here. It's starting off in Australia this evening at 12:30 a.m. Tomorrow morning, I guess, 12:30 a.m. And then we have a ton of Red Star news starting in Europe at 4 o'clock. And then moving into the U.S., we got Red Star news tomorrow at 8 a.m. As you can see here, 12:30 a.m. gets us started with the Aussie. Right, we get the RBA announcement. Now, the RBA announcement is just like our FOMC report. So it's a very important news coming out of Australia. We also have, as you can see here, we got news at 3:50, 3:55, 4 o'clock, 4:30, and 5 a.m. All of this now is European-based news, and it's all Red Star news. It's all manufacturing. All right, you got a little field day in store here for you guys tomorrow in Europe. And, of course, the big news, though, for us here in the U.S., 8:30 a.m., this is Red Star News. Red Star News tells me the most amount of people are watching, the most amount of volume, and the most amount of opportunity. What else do we always try to do on a Red Star News number? We try to hold on to a runner, right, because we expect to see big moves when we have Red Star News. Now, don't forget, all of these are hyperlinked. You can click on any of these, and you can learn more about them by going right to the horse's mouth. That's what you have to work with tomorrow. Lots of news tomorrow in the London European session. We get a little bit of news tomorrow morning in the U.S. session. We're looking forward to an exciting day. Oh, and one more thing about the news tomorrow morning. We saw this happen today on the Russell, didn't we, guys, in my trade room today? What happened today on the Russell? Russell had a big what? A big range overnight. And so what do we do in the U.S. session? It was at 9:30 a.m. this morning. What do we do? Reversal, right? Took it right back up higher. Could you maybe just anticipate possibly a big range tomorrow, since we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 news events tomorrow morning before we open up? Yeah, right? So think about tomorrow morning in the Russell, well, or any market. Today was a good example in the Russell of how it happened today in the Russell. But if you're a student of mine in the trade room, we will definitely be looking at the volume and the ATR coming out of the London trading session, because that's going to be a big clue as far as whether or not we should be looking for a reversal or for a continuation tomorrow morning. And if you're not a member with me, come join me tomorrow as a student in the trade room. We'll have live trade calls with exact entries and exact exits. Now, roll those sleeves up, let's grab some charts, and let's get ready for tomorrow's trading opportunities. Here we are on crude. Now again, crude oil, Whether we believe it or not, it's still pushing lower, even though we got the bloodshed happening right in the Ukraine region. Very surprised, but we can assume the news out of China is what's responsible. We have a downward sloping channel. You can see we drew trend lines here, trend lines off the highs. So those trend lines will be support, they will be resistance. My goal tonight, though, is to sell short at the 111, the 147, and even at the 101.46, although I don't expect it to get up there. Those are our 3 target locations for short selling. If we don't get there, I'm going to look for a new lower low. Once I get a new lower low, then we're looking for wave patterns short. I've got targets here at 98.74. I have targets here at 97.70 and a target here at 96.99. As you can see here, we've given you 3 different locations to look for selling opportunities. If we don't get there right now, I am more than welcome right now to start selling short here as we go, because you can see I am below all of my key moving averages. We just made a new lower low, so you can get to selling right now if you want, but I would love to get myself into a short at those 2 sell zones here overhead. I've got targets here, 98.74, 97.70, and of course, 96.99. We'll go ahead and call that the big round number at 97 even. All right, looking to sell short here on crude oil. Moving over here now to the gold here. Had a very nice little reversal line entry there for the long earlier on in the session. As you can see, though, we are bullish here on gold, but we're starting to get some concerns here. We got a lower low in price, right? A little bit of a lower low there in price. We couldn't really make a new higher high. Remember, this was all in the overnight session, the London session if you're a U.S. trader, all right? It'd be the daytime session if you're in Europe. So, of course, all we did today in the U.S. was push lower. You'll notice here we're sitting right at key support. And we've got 3 levels right below us that we can use for buying opportunities right now. I'm bullish on gold. I'm looking right now for buying opportunities above me. Buying opportunities because I'm right at my key moving average. I've got the 1307.6, the 1302.9. You guys know me, right? I'm looking to buy at a discount, so this would be a great spot to be a buyer. Members, we're going to use this anchor chart to find locations to look for a buying opportunity. And then I got targets overhead here, 1317, 1324.2. We've got 1315.8, 17.9, and 24.2. Those make for excellent profit targets. And again, I've got entry opportunities here at 1307.6, 1302.9. Don't forget about that trend line. That will also be an opportunity to look for a buying opportunity there as well. And one last thing, guys, if we happen to slip and fall here below the 1298.5, that gives us now a chance to start selling short. I've got targets down here for a short at 1293.9, 1281.4. I don't think we're going to need these lows here tomorrow, but I do expect, though, if we get pushing lower, look for a selling opportunity again below that 1298.5. You've only got about 50 ticks of room, so it's going to be a short. It's going to be a very short-lived selling opportunity. But that's the reality right now. And then we'll start looking again for buying opportunities again. Right? So once we get down there, then of course we'll begin looking once again here for another chance to buy. So a very small window there to sell short. I'm looking at buying here. I'm buying at the support levels that we've given you guys, and don't forget to use that trend line as well. Alrighty, and then of course, last but not least here, we got the mighty mini Russell. Don't forget, you can download all of these charts by clicking on that link right below today's video. Go over to slideshare.net. Yuck, this is not looking too good here, guys. I've got range highs up top, 53.5. I've got range lows down bottom, 97.4, right? That's our major range highs and lows right there. If you dig in closer, I've got range highs here. I've got range highs there. As you can see, when you're going to dig in a little bit closer here, 97.4, 9.3, 6.4, and 3.5. Those are by far my 4 most important areas on this chart. But what am I seeing here right now? Right in the middle. Not good. Mama said, don't fiddle with your middle, JJ. Stick to buying the lows and selling the highs, right? That's the goal that I have. That's my trading plan on the Russell right now. And this is the most challenging of all the markets we've seen so far. Why? Because we got to stay patient. I can't just jump right into this bad boy right now. I've got to stay patient. I want to buy the lows at 13.1. I want to sell the highs at 30.4. If we buy the lows, we take our profit back at the highs. If we sell the highs, we take our profit back at the lows, right? This ain't rocket science. Now, I know we talked about the first guy going to space today, but this ain't rocket science, right? This is day trading. Buy the lows, sell the highs. It does not need to be complicated. But I know for a fact right now, though, I've got selling opportunities at 36.4, 30.4, buying opportunities at 13.1, 09.3, 05.7. Right? I don't think we're going to get here, but we could buy the 97.4. We can sell the 53.5. Guys, bottom line is this. When you see consolidated range like this, stay the heck out of the way in the middle. Be patient to buy the lows and sell the highs. If we do break out, I've got to get above the 6.4, and then I can start buying up to that 3.5. Again, don't say I didn't warn you. Get above this 6.4. Do not try to buy until we get above that area. And then even still, it still has potential here to go through it and then collapse back down in. I can buy above the 6.4, but again, I'm suspicious. I can sell below the 9.3, but I don't think we're going to have much room there, though. You get 9.3, get a little bit of room here to sell short below 9.3, down to 5.7, but I think you're a little bit crazy there. I'd buy those lows, buy that support, buy those lows, right? Make it easy. Make it easy on yourself. Stay away from the middle. We do have some room, though, here to the upside. Get above the 6.4 up to that 3.5, right? So we can start buying that pullback here above that 6.4. The worst case scenario is tomorrow morning we come out and we open smack dab right in the middle again. If that happens, we've got big problems. We got to wait patiently. If it opens up tomorrow at the lows, we're a buyer. Opens up tomorrow at the highs, we're a seller. And as always, don't forget, come in and see me tomorrow morning in the trade room. Please remember, I'm giving you guys long-term trading levels here right now. I won't know the exact information until I see it on my chart with my two eyes and my two ears tomorrow morning. So if you want to trade with me tomorrow, come out and see me in the trade room. Right? I would love to walk you through how I'm going to use this information to make educated trading decisions along with all the other members from all over the world. Once again, everybody, don't forget, you can download all of today's charts by following that link right there, right below the video. Also, don't forget, you can join our live trade room tomorrow afternoon as a guest. Click on the link right there. And you got to make sure you forward this to a friend, guys, right? Don't hog all the good information for yourself, right? Share this with a friend, right? So send this link to a friend. They'll thank you for it. And before I let you guys go, don't forget, at SchoolOfTrade.com, we have 3 levels of membership: beginner, intermediate, and advanced. I teach people from around the world with absolutely zero experience. I teach them how to get their career started in a safe and profitable way, and I can do it by giving you a free trial. Join the free trial on the website. Give me a call here in the office if you have any questions, and I thank you all for coming and joining me here tonight on my nightly newsletter. Now, come back and see me tomorrow morning in the trade room, or I'll see you same time, same place, tomorrow evening, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, for our nightly newsletter. Signing off now, boys and girls, from our corporate office here in Los Angeles. Our nightly newsletter for May 5th, 2014. Adios, amigos. Bye-bye for now.